Namaste, Jai Kali, Jai Mahadev, Jai Bharat. I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. Remember, if you're feeling fine, you can take better care of your loved ones. So today I'm going to talk about dependent personality disorder. I mean, yes, it's quite an interesting personality disorder, and I think it must be quite challenging and painful also for the person suffering from this. So if you see, dependent personality disorder is a kind of a pervasive and excessive need to be taken care of, that you know which further leads to submissive and clinging behavior. And you know it's basically, let me put it very simply, a dependent personality disorder is something uh, in which the person has excessive need to be taken care of, and they can just become a submissive person and a clingy person, and they just want to be taken care of. They are scared of separation, and they are scared of being alone, so they just become very clingy. They are very, you know clingy and very submissive, and I don't know. You'll understand it later when I get into explaining. So some of the features, if you see, or characteristics of a person suffering from this kind of a personality disorder, is that these people have difficulty in making everyday decisions, and without an excess amount of advice and reassurance from others. So, until unless someone doesn't advise them, these people suffering from this disorder, they are unable to take any decision. They always need some advice or the other, some reassurance, and only then they do something. Otherwise, they can't do things alone. Uh, they these people are constantly in search for someone else to take the responsibility of their life. So these people, dependent personality disorder, they just want others to take care of them. They don't want to take care of others. So I don't know. I mean, like, it's quite a very weird kind of a behavior, and it begins to show in early adulthood. So it's not that it begins to show from childhood. This begins to show, this kind of a personality disorder begins to show in early adulthood, and we will talk about it, what triggers it and why do they think it in this way. The other aspect is that these people have difficulty in even expressing their disagreement, because they are scared that if they disagree to something, they might be abandoned, alienated, or they might be left alone or separated. So, because with that fear of separation, they choose to agree to everything, any rubbish they agree, and they that is the reason they become the subject of abuse, because they're so dependent, they're so weak, fragile, they just want to latch on. So that is what makes them very submissive and susceptible to all kinds, various kinds of abuses. So, and if you see, these people are, they cannot complete or do any project alone. They constantly need support and validation of others. So they never take a project to its completion. They either leave it halfway, or if it is supported and assisted only, then they're able to complete some task. Alone, they don't have that self confidence. I mean, people suffering from dependent personality disorder. And if you see, these people are just like puppies. They can go to any extent to look for people's support and obtain their nurturance. And they can go to an extent that even they become victims of abuse. But they choose rather to be abused rather than being left alone, rather than them being separated. So they're quite good. These dependent personality disorders are quite good candidates for narcissists, antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. They're very good candidates for those kind of people. And if you see, these people, dependent personality disorder, they have a very, they feel uncomfortable and helpless when they are alone. So they always want to be surrounded by someone, at any cost, you know. Fine. We need to be social, we need to be surrounded by like-minded people. I think that is the best thing. But these people, dependent personality disorder people, they just want anyone just to surround them so that they feel good and not lonely. So they are a little bit I don't know. I mean, it's quite complex. I feel sad for them because they're very helpless, fragile, timid, uh, lack of self-respect, low self-esteem, no confidence, and that is the reason they just go. They even allow anyone to abuse them just for the sake of the abuser being with them. So this is that kind of a personality disorder, and these kind of people suffering from personality disorders, they are very quick in relationship. If one relationship and they quickly jump onto other, if the other one and they quickly jump onto the next. So they never want to be alone, they just want support of a relationship. They can't be alone, let's face the fact. But it's quite a very unhealthy dependency, I would say, with dependent personality disorder. And mm, these kind of people suffering from dependent personality disorder, they have a very unrealistic pre they are, they are generally very unrealistically preoccupied with fear of being left alone, and who would take care of them in later life. So they're just scared of being left alone, and who would take care. I mean, why not be fit and fine and take care of yourself? What's wrong in being all by yourself and taking care of yourself? So they're so dependent that they just want to latch on to someone, and they just don't want to be alone. They just want people to take care of them, even at the cost of them being exploited. So this is a very weird kind of a personality disorder. Now, getting more into it, if you see now, let's come to the features, the common features of dependent personality disorder. Is that these people are submissive, very passive, clinging behavior, and that is of course because fear of separation, and they have this excessive need of being taken care of. They just want everyone to keep caring for them. They don't want to do it themselves. They want to be taken care of. They are very pessimistic. They assume the worst outcome will happen. So they are all the time surrounded by fear, doubt, guilt, pessimism. That is one of the features. And they have this self perception that they cannot function without others. So they know that they cannot function. They assume rather that they cannot function without the support of the others. So they believe that they are non-functional if others are not there. I mean, that's weird, but that's how their mind works. They have difficulty with everyday decisions as to what to wear, what not to wear. They don't, I mean, if they have difficulty in choosing things, they just want someone else to come and, help them. Or rather, you can say, I shouldn't be saying this, but they have that slave mentality where they want someone else to just control them, even abuse them, and just do everything for them, and they will feel good, and they will just submit to whoever is the person. So it's quite I've got no words. I know a lot of people who are suffering from dependent personality disorder. In my family also I have seen. Trust me, their lives are real miserable. But I'll come to that later, or maybe some other time I'll discuss. So, these people suffering from dependent personality disorder also, they have a fear of, losing approval. So approval validation issues also they have, and if they are not approved and validated, they feel low and lost. They feel worthless. So that is one of the problems, and because of which they are good. They become good victims to narcissist people and antisocial people. And apart from that, they are unable to complete anything at all by themselves. So they need something or the other, validating and helping them. And they may quickly initiate romantic relationships. As soon as they get over with the old one, they just quickly jump into a new relationship. So, they have a lot of this lack of self-confidence and self-doubt, and, you know, uh, uh, I don't know. I mean, like, it's quite a complex case. I would suggest you guys to read it yourself, because this dependent personality disorder, I mean, like, really messes you up if one is suffering from this personality disorder. Now, as in with most personality disorders, the exact cause is unknown. Genetics and environment is likely to play a large role when it comes to, this kind of a personality disorder. I mean, like, it's genetic and environment. Mostly, I would say genetic, because such kind of dependent parasitic traits or slave traits are quite genetic. So I mean, it passes on. And if you see chronic physical illness and separation anxiety disorder in childhood can also be the trigger points, but not the actual cause. The actual cause is mostly the environment and the genetics. I mean, like, from where it passes on, it comes forward. Having a very overprotective and authoritarian parent can also put the child in the risk of developing dependent personality disorder. So, too much of a control freak parent and overprotective parent also really uh, creates such kind of a mental handicap in the children, whereas in they become dependent beings. And apart from that, if you see that these problems, I mean, a lot of studies suggest that dependent personality disorder is quite common amongst women compared to men. But I mean, like, certain recent studies show that it's equal now. Earlier, it was more common with women, the dependent personality disorder, but these days it's equal. So, the current reports and studies suggest that dependent personality disorder is equal among both the genders now. And if you see, uh, this kind of a disorder, often, I mean, or rather, I would say the comorbidities, the comorbidities that can be seen along with this kind of dependent personality disorder is depressive disorder, anxiety disorder, adjustment disorder, other personality disorders like borderline, avoidant, and histrionic. So these are the comorbidities that can be observed. And if you see, there are other various subtypes also to this kind of personality disorder, right? And Theodore Mellon describes it beautifully. And as we all know, that he has contributed a lot in understanding different kinds of personality disorder. So, the first subtype of dependent personality disorder is disquieted dependent. That is, it includes avoidant features, disconcerted, feels dread, apprehensive, vulnerable, and lonely. The second subtype is selfless dependent. That includes, of course, masochistic features, immersed into another individual, willingly give up their own identity. The other one is immature dependent, unsophisticated, childlike, incapable of adult responsibilities. Accommodating dependent, that includes histrionic features, gracious, eager, compliant, agreeable, and submissive. And the last subtype is ineffectual dependent, includes schizoid feature, incompetent, seeks untroubled life, refuses to deal with difficulties. So these are a couple of the subtypes of dependent personality disorder. And now coming to the treatment part, if we see, so psychotherapy is the mainstay of treatment. Psychotherapy is the basic thing with which this can be managed and somewhat treated. And the goal of psychotherapy in this case is to develop a greater independence and facilitate more healthier relationship with others in their life. So, I mean, like, by talking and counseling, it might help the individual to have a independent sense of independence, and also will help them to understand healthy boundaries and understand what toxicity is and what being in a healthy relationship is. They would be able to identify better with the help of psychotherapy. And also, with the help of psychotherapy, these dependent personality disorders might get a chance to develop a better self-esteem and confidence. And apart from that, if you see, there is no first line of medication for dependent personality disorder. And I mean, like, medications have not been very helpful in this case. And if you see, uh, for the co-occurring, issues, or the co-occurring, depression, anxiety, etc., some medication might be a little of some help. But apart from that, dependent personality disorder has got no, it rather, it cannot be treated with any medicine. All what it can be treated with is uh, talking and improving the person's own self-esteem and independence and confidence. So yes, this was all about dependent personality disorder. Please do like, share, subscribe the channel, and hit the like button. And if you know someone suffering from dependent personality disorder, um, do I mean, like, if you have some experience related to it that you want to share, you can comment below. And please take care of yourself. If we start talking about things, we can solve a lot of our problems. Please take care of yourself. Lots of love and blessing to all of you. Bye.